Hi, my name is Dave, and this is my how-to video on setting up a virtual computer on your Windows PC. If you do not know what a virtual computer is, then check out the link below to get more information about them. People use virtual computers for many different reasons, from trying a different OS like Linux, or to learning about networking and servers. So there's a few things you're going to need to start using a virtual machine. You're going to want to make sure you have a good computer with plenty of hard drive space. Usually a virtual computer will take up around 10 gigabytes of hard drive space, but if you're going to be doing a lot with it or using creating a server or Windows, you're going to want to have around 20 gigs free. Next, you'll need software that'll run the virtual machines. To get the software, I use Virtualbox. If you go to virtualbox.org, you can download it and install it. It's pretty easy to install, just follow the steps and allow the network adapters when it prompts you. Once you have it installed and you open it, you'll get this. This is the VirtualBox Manager, and this is where it'll list all your virtual machines. To create a virtual machine, you're going to need an ISO file or an installation disk. Or if you're not quite sure where to get started, you can go to a website called virtualboxes.org, and they have pre-made VirtualBox images for you to mess around with. They have Debian, uh, Fedora, Kubuntu, Linux Mint, Ubuntu, Puppy Linux, very popular different Linux distributions that you can download and use, get you started. Okay, so to create a virtual machine, you want to go to New, and then you want to name it. If you put in Linux or Windows, it'll pre-fill the type and the version. Either choose between a brand version like Fedora or Debian, or just choose the latest Linux and choose between 64-bit and 32-bit, which is just that. Now you need to choose how much memory to give your virtual machine. Depending on how much memory you have in your computer, the more you give it, the faster it'll run, but obviously the less you'll have for your physical machine. So I usually give it around a gig, and that should be more than enough to run Linux. But you can always change this at any time if you find that it's running too sluggish. Alright, next, now you need to create your virtual hard drive. If you downloaded a pre-made virtual machine, you would click Use Existing and go to the file you downloaded. But if you're using an ISO, you have to create a hard drive. So go to Create. If you're going to only use VirtualBox, then just leave this default. If you're going to use a virtual machine or Parallels, you'd want to choose those. But just leave it default with VirtualBox. Alright, now you need to choose between dynamically and fixed. Dynamically means it'll only take up a certain part of your physical hard drive, reserve it for the virtual, and the more you need, the more it'll take up. Fixed size is it takes it up the entire amount at once, and it can be a little faster, but it's just up to you. I just leave mine dynamic. Alright, and then you want to choose where to save it and how much to give it. You can give it, depending on how big your hard drive is. It's usually better to save it on a second hard drive if you have more than one on your computer, but if you can't, then you can just save it wherever. So hit create. Alright, and then it is listed in here. You get a little preview window, so when it's powered on, you can see what it's showing. These are all the settings. If you want to change any settings, you can go to Settings. And this is where you can change the name, the memory, processor if you have more than one CPU, any acceleration, display, storage. This is important. This is the hard drive, and this is where you're going to want to add your ISO file that you're going to use to install Linux or whatever operating system you want. So to do that, you want to go here, choose a virtual CD, choose the ISO file that you have either downloaded or you have, and you can add it. And if it's a Linux CD, you're going to want to check this, which means that when you shut down the virtual computer, it'll say eject the CD. If you check this, it'll keep it attached and it'll just say it's ejected. All right, and then you can obviously add more than one if you wanted to. Network. NAT allows you to connect to the internet through your physical NIC or network. So if you want to connect to the internet, you want to choose that. If you do host only adapter, that's good for like a lab scenario where it's on its own separate network and it can't communicate with the outside. Last thing is shared folders. You can set up a shared folder to copy files back and forth from the guest and host machine. All right, that's it for the settings. And then if you hit start, it'll start up your virtual machine. Okay, and now my virtual computer has started up. As you can see, it's Linux Mint. I can do whatever I want. I can open up terminal. It is important to note that this is running off the CD. It has not been installed, so I would have to install it to make it complete. And obviously, you can see that I can do stuff on my physical and my virtual. All right, so that has been it. This has been my tutorial on how to set up a virtual machine on your Windows PC. I hope to like it. If you do, you can hit like and subscribe down below and enjoy your virtual computer. Thanks.